Hi again, I'm Carson from Guys with Games. This week I'm going to show you how I have adapted the popular party game Wavelength for use in the EFL or ESL classroom. Before I get into explaining the game, I'm going to tell you the things you'll need to prepare. You need sets of magnets, one color for each team. You'll need a small portable whiteboard that you, the teacher, will control. And you also need a 10-sided die or some way to randomly choose a number between 1 and 10. Okay, let's talk about the game, how it works first of all, and then I'll show you an example. There's a lot of information up here that doesn't need to be here in the actual playing time, but for me to explain it to you, I feel it's all useful. Let's focus on these opposite concepts first. You're going to also need to prepare, so maybe 5 or 10 minutes before class, coming up with a bunch of these opposite or opposing concepts. They could be opposite adjectives or some noun that has a dichotomous relationship with another noun. But you need to think in terms of these are concepts that my students either already know or could easily be explained, and you're going to have them rank something on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being something that smells terrible and 10 being something that smells wonderful. Where would you rank whatever example their teammate gives them? Okay? That's how the game works. So a scale of 1 to 10. I feel like this is something that uses a new game mechanic. It gets the students thinking creatively, and it focuses on vocabulary recall, which is great. So how do you play? Let's divide our class into 3 teams. So however evenly you can do that, let's say there are 4 students on each team. And we'll let the red team go first. Well, I will ask the students on the red team to nominate one clue giver in the first round. And they'll choose somebody, but the next time that the red team goes, they will nominate a different clue giver. And it's also important to note that once one team plays, so something that smells good to something that smells bad, after this team takes their turn, we change this to something completely different. So something cold and something hot. Like that, okay? So again, you're going to need to prepare many of these opposite relationship items. But let me show you how the game is played. Okay, the red team nominates one student, and that student and we go to the back of the classroom. I'm not going to go behind the camera, but you can imagine that if I were back there, even if the students turned around, they can't see what's on my whiteboard. And what's on my whiteboard? It's just another example of this 1 to 10 thing. So the teacher is going to roll the dice secretly and arrive at a value. Okay, 6. So I'm going to put my magnet on the 6 here, and that student, the clue giver for the red team, will see that he or she needs to give a clue within this set of values that will direct their teammates towards the number 6. Okay? So some of the basic rules in the game is that you can't say any numbers. You can't make up something like, for example, you couldn't say, 6 cookies, because that directly indicates. So you need to choose one something, and then you just say that thing, and then your teammates would be up at the whiteboard playing. They need to kind of figure out, what did you mean by that? So let's say something that smells bad, something that smells good. Let's say our red clue giver says, I don't know, how about gasoline? And so then the red teammates here, this inspires some conversation between them, and they think, ooh, does he think gasoline smells good or bad? It's definitely not the worst smelling thing I can imagine, and it's also not the best smelling thing. I kind of like the way that gas smells. How about you? They discuss, and then they arrive at a value. Let's say 7. Okay. Then, before me, the teacher, reveals the true answer, I'll have the yellow team and the blue team come up, because they also can score a point on the red team's turn. This is a critical thing in most of the games that we come up with, the gaming mechanics. We want everyone to be involved all the time, if that's possible. And so if it were just a red team take a turn and maybe score some points, the students on the yellow team or the blue team, they could just tune out. But the way that we get around that is they also can score a point during their turn. So, okay, the red team said, we think it's a 7. in this scale. And I'll tell them that's not the right answer. But don't worry, don't change it. You'll get some points later. But blue team, do you think the real answer is further towards smells bad or further towards smells good? So you think it's this way, it smells worse than 7, or this way? And so they get to choose. They can say, I don't know, I think it's this side. And maybe someone on the yellow team loves the smell of gasoline. No, I'm positive it's this way. It's probably up here. Okay, let's find out how the points are scored. So I have it on my whiteboard so that the student back with me also can see. And it's here so you can see it. If the score is, if the red team chooses the exact value, they get 3 points. If they're off by 1 either way, they get 2 points. If they're off by 2 either way, they get 1 point. And if they're off by more than that, they get nothing. So the real value, I would turn this around like, oh, the answer was 6. So let's see, the red team is only off by 1, they get 2 points. So 1, 2. The blue team is right, it's further this way. So they get 1 point, and in our example, the yellow team, I'm sorry, that's not right. But don't worry, you get a chance to get points later. Then you will erase these, choose a new team, and then put up a new value system. And you play again with the clue giver of the next team, whatever that is. So it's a race up to 8. That's how you play the game. We hope you enjoy it, and we'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.